Well, hello everybody. Mary Grace Brigg here, host of the Teach and Profit Summit, and here with me is Sheila Paxton. I love her topic that we're going to be covering, but first off, I just want to welcome her to stage, Sheila.
Thank you. It's so great to be with you.
I am excited, and I'm sure our listeners are as well. And I really want to thank you for sharing your expertise and your time with us again. You are one of the person that I always look up to and look forward to connecting and sharing your expertise, learning from you. So first off, before I get too excited here, share your expertise, share your background with us. How did you get started that led you to doing what you're doing today?
Well, it's interesting because, today what I'm working on is helping coaches and other experts to leverage their intellectual property, their time, et cetera. And we're going to talk about that more. But that's been kind of a theme of my careers. I started in corporate America, working for other people and, climbed the ladder and worked really hard. I was in training and development, organizational development, and instructional design. And I'm also a professional speaker. So I've been doing that for years and running companies also. So it's very, very background, but to really bring me closer to where we are today, at one point I was the senior vice president of a company called Career Track, which was one of the largest training companies in the United States. I was in charge of product development and client development. And so what I saw, this is back in 1998, so I'm going to date myself just a little, but I saw that there was a future, not just in the stand-up training where you bring facilitators in and people sit and listen and interact, but that we could use this brand new web as a base for just interactive modeling and simulations and animation. And because Career Track had so much intellectual property, I thought, well, let's take the content that we have and let's turn it into some web-based training. So I put in a proposal to the owners of the company, and they said, and it was a great business case. I built the whole model, all the stuff you do as a business person, and showed them the ROI. And they said to me, not only are we not going to fund this, we're selling the company. And that's the first I had heard of it. And I thought, oh no, because who usually goes, right? When you sell a company, top management. So I thought, well, I'm going to venture out on my own and take this idea and put together a group of people who were colleagues of mine. I found my first client who gave me a 6-figure contract, paid half of it up front because he knew my work. We had worked together for some years, and he paid half of it up front so I could capitalize a business, starting a business. So I never had to be in debt in that business, which was just a complete miracle. And we grew the company meteorically. We had clients like AT&T and Proctor Gamble and American Express and CNA Insurance, where we were working on designing this amazing learning that they could leverage. And so that business went great. In about 2.5 years. We grew to just under $7 million in revenue. And then it was the technology boom, and the company approached me and said, we want to buy your company. And I thought, wow. And that's when everybody was buying tech businesses. I sold my business, and I realized I was too young to retire. What do I do next? And so I had a passion for relationships. And that's another whole long story in itself, working through my own broken relationships, that I went back, more schooling, because that's what we do as coaches. We're always doing education, attended Seton Hall, worked on my master's in family therapy and relationship specialty. And then I became a certified relationship coach with accredited Relationship Coaching Institute. So there I am. I'm starting to coach, and I develop a process called Fit for Love. And in this process of Fit for Love, we took people, and because my theory is a lot of times people repeat the same relationship patterns and mistakes over and over again. And Marie Grace, I'm sure you've seen friends and things like that. They keep picking the wrong kinds of people and they end up unhappy. So I put together a system where it was built on understanding how and why you're attracted to certain kinds of people, what triggers they are. We don't go back and try to recount the past, but it's working on what's present and how we can change the behaviors right then to lead to not a disastrous relationship, but to something that's loving and lasting and values-based. So I started coaching, and my coaching practice filled up. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, here I am. I've been a businesswoman. I've always leveraged the intellectual capital of my companies and companies I've worked for. And here I am trading time for dollars and thinking something's not right. And I was exhausted. And so it hit me. Why not train other coaches that are in life coaching or personal development or in relationships already? Train them in the Fit for Love process. And then they can go and work with other people globally. And then what I'm free to do is grow the business like I'm supposed to. And so I put together a program because of my instructional design background. It was easy for me. And then I thought, what's going to give me credibility? What's going to make me different from everybody else? I can say I have a certification program, but certified by whom? So I did some research and I found the International Coach Federation, that they accredit coaching programs for continuing education credits for their coaches. And I'm thinking, what a great thing to have on my website, right? Their logo. So I worked through this onerous process of getting my program accredited by ICF. They accredited it the first time through. I was contacted by one of the reviewers who said, we almost never do this. You don't even come back for questions. So that was exciting. I put the ICF logo on my website, and then I put the word out and started training coaches in my process. So here I am having a great time building a business, building coaches. We had coaches in 13 countries. And a number of them are still practicing. I've transitioned from Fit for Love and sold the intellectual property to a colleague of mine and just using it under a different name. And so, there I was. And one of our colleagues, and Marie Grace, I think you know this person whose name I won't mention, but she calls me up and she said, I'm watching what you're doing. And she was in the relationship space too. She said, can you teach me how to turn my program into something I can certify other coaches to teach? And I had also developed with my attorney, lots of legal help, a licensing agreement for my coaches. So I was getting passive revenue along with everything else that was going on. So I thought, and I said to her, you're a direct competitor of mine, and I love you dearly, but I'm not really quite sure about that. And then it was my brain opened up. Instead of being closed, it was expansive. And I thought, this is another business that I bet there's other coaches who have good programs who want to know how to leverage what they have. It's not just this person, there's other people. So I put together a pilot program, I invited people in, and sure enough, it was just over 2 years ago, and we've been holding classes ever since and really helping people to change the absolute nature of the way they do their coaching practice. So that's an abbreviated version of what got me to here today.